Joined by Aman Sinha of the ruling BJP. Mr. Sinha, thank you for joining WION this morning. The verdict is finally out in the 2G spectrum allocation scam case. Disappointed, would you say?
I believe the entire text of the judgment is yet to come out. So one can make a considered statement only after going through the judgment. But I believe the operative part was pronounced in the court, and where the accused have been acquitted for lack of evidence. And let us await the final text of the judgment, then we can take a structured view on the matter.
Mr. Sinha, you're a lawyer yourself. Now, there are two ways of looking at this verdict, one legally and the other politically. Now, you have the unique advantage of being both a lawyer and a politician. Now, how do you see this development plays out politically going forward, especially at a time when Parliament is blocked by the opposition Congress party seeking an apology from the Prime Minister for defaming the former Prime Minister ahead of the Gujarat elections?
No, there is no question of defaming the former Prime Minister, Mr. Manmohan Singh, at all. In fact, he was present in the meeting there at Manishankar Ayer's residence, and the Congress party subsequently denied. But that is, besides the subject that we are discussing right now. And I'm sure the prosecution will go up in appeal, and this would be subject matter of judicial scrutiny before High Court. And let us see what is the reasoning which has been given for acquitting all the accused, because this was, as you very rightly pointed out, that this was one of the biggest scams in the history of independent India. And for all of the accused to be acquitted, I believe the acquittal would only be on the ground that there was lack of evidence to establish beyond any
established today.
And you had defended this scam.
Mr. Sinha, do stay on. We are watching the live visuals of Congress leader P. Chidambaram speaking to reporters outside Parliament. If I can come back to you quickly, Mr. Sinha, we heard, if you are still with us, Mr. Sinha, we were speaking to Manish Tiwari of the Congress party sometime earlier, and he says the then Comptroller and Auditor General Vinod Rai must apologize to the nation for sensationalizing the scam figures, the quantum of the scam per se, and also that he should be prosecuted for corroding the atmosphere. Your thoughts?
So the scam was very much there. The scam had happened. The only issue before court was that whether there were, it was beyond all questionable doubts, and, there was evidence on record to suggest that they were all accused and they were all guilty of committing this offense. So the trial court does not give a finding on the scam per se. The loss which was caused to the public exchequer is very much there, and Supreme Court has already recorded that in its earlier judgment on 2G. Now, what was relegated to trial was whether these accused were guilty of committing these offences or not, and whether the fact that there was enough evidence on record to establish this beyond reasonable doubt. So let us see what is the reasoning of the judgment. Once the entire text comes out, then we'll be able to give a more considered and a structured view. But irrespective of whatever is there in the judgment, this was indeed one of the biggest scams, and I'm sure the prosecution will go up in appeal. This matter has not attained finality here.
All right. Aman Sinha of the BJP says this matter has not attained finality yet. Thank you, Mr. Sinha, for joining us. If I can bring Majid Meeman, a senior lawyer, into discussion this morning. Mr. Meeman. All right. Reactions are pouring in thick and fast. Let's listen in.
My party, the across the party who understand.
What is your comment over the political conspiracy done in this case,
All right, so you were listening to Kanimozhi of the DMK party welcoming the judgment and relieved at the verdict that came out in her favor and that of her colleague A. Raja in the 2G spectrum scam allocation case. If Mr. Majid Meeman is still with us, can you hear me, Mr. Meeman? All right, we'll try to try to reach out to Mr. Memon in a bit, but if I can just bring our viewers up to speed with all the latest coming in from the Patiala House courts. All right, I'm told Karthikeya Sharma, our colleague, has more updates for us. Karthikeya.
Kapil Sibal has issued a statement saying that he has always claimed that the spectrum allocation had caused zero loss, and he says that my point has been proved beyond reasonable doubt that it was a zero loss. So the courts have upheld my view. So that's the breaking news coming in, as we were discussing, that we'll find most of the Congress leaders who were actually at the receiving end at that point of time from 2012 onwards have started coming out. Though the reaction of the former Controller Auditor General Vinod Rai is not there, the fact of the matter is that this matter will become even bigger as Parliament session is on.
Indeed, that's the big story we are tracking here on WION this moment. All the accused in the 2G spectrum scam have been acquitted by the senior CBI judge who delivered the verdict in the Patiala House courts here in New Delhi. All the accused stand acquitted in the case. All right, we'll try to get more reactions coming, this time from KS Dakshinamurthy, who is joining us via Skype this moment. Good morning, Mr. Dakshinamurthy. Thank you for joining WION this morning. Your immediate reaction to this verdict in which all the accused stand acquitted?
I mean, I can't think of a term other than sensational, because I mean, for all the hype and, for all the, the way the 2G scam has taken Indian politics in the last 5 years, how it has determined politics, how it went against the UPA, it enabled BJP to come to power, the whole entire political discourse around the 2G scam, this entire thing has just fallen flat within, in a matter of a few seconds. So what it basically indicates is that either something was seriously wrong in the way the case was handled by the prosecution, or there was nothing in the first place for it to have, for any kind of a prosecution to have taken place. So it's a very serious thing in many ways than one. It also goes to show that sometimes, people can be wrongfully accused of things, or sometimes, it basically, or it could be a systemic issue. I think it opens up a whole gamut of issues that we need to look at now. But it's nothing short of sensational.
Nothing sort of sensational, says Dakshinamurthy. Mr. Dakshinamurthy, now we know that Prime Minister Modi rode to victory in 2014 on the back of a series of scams, including the 2G spectrum allocation scam case. Now, in retrospect, with the benefit of hindsight, especially after this morning's verdict, would you say that this has come as a shot in the arm for the opposition Congress and a setback and disappointment for the ruling BJP?
Definitely. Definitely this is the case, because one of the ways, in which the UPA was put on the defensive was the 2G scam, and the huge, mind-boggling sum that was touted, 1,76,000 crores. I mean, visualizing, what that amount is. That kind of a amount that was touted, and basically the opposition at that point in time, which is the BJP, used it to the hilt. And then you also had this anti-corruption, movement of Anna Hazare and Arvind Kejriwal. Everybody kind of latched onto this, and then it is no denying that corruption is a major issue in India, and nobody can run away from it. But to have really gone behind the UPA and accused people like Raja and Kanimozhi, and then finally now you find that they're completely out of the whole thing. So which means, have they been wronged all these years? Or is there an issue with the way the issue, the CBI handled it, or the prosecution handled it? And it's a really something that one need to really look at very carefully. Of course, once the detailed judgment comes, then we will know what the rationale was. Yes. Right.
With Dakshinamurthy, stay on. Let's listen to what Kapil Sibal of the Congress party had to say after the verdict came out.
सिब्बल साहब जीरो लॉस कहते थे, तो अब इन ट्रोल वालों को भी माफी मांगनी चाहिए, क्योंकि सिब्बल साहब सोच विचार के बात करते हैं, बेबुनियादी कभी बात नहीं करते.
So what does it mean going forward now? Because several companies, several individuals were accused in this case.
Most unfortunate. This is the point, you see, that if you create an atmosphere of suspicion, And if you create an atmosphere in this country that everything that the UPA one did was wrong, and if the opposition gets onto the bandwagon, and the entire atmosphere is vitiated, and you get a judgment of a court which is not necessarily right, then you will have positions like this. The telecom sector is in dire straits today, thanks to Vinod Rai. The telecom sector is in dire straits today, thanks to the opposition, thanks to the leaders of the opposition, both in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, that made such a song and dance about it. And now our position has been vindicated. And they attacked the former Prime Minister of India. They attacked. Though I was never the telecom minister at that time. This decision was taken when Raja was there. But I, of course, succeeded him. And when I succeeded him and I looked at the facts, I told the people of this country there's nothing wrong that has happened. And today my position and the government's position and the Prime Minister's position has been vindicated. It is most unfortunate that the country had to go through this. And in fact, a lot of the NPAs in the banks today are on account of the fact that these telecom companies' licenses were cancelled. People had to borrow money from the banks. They couldn't return money to the banks. That's how a lot of these NPAs have accumulated. That also is the responsibility of the opposition, not ours.
यानी सर व्यवस्था को नुकसान हुआ,
बैंकिंग सेक्टर को नुकसान हुआ, व्यवस्था को नुकसान हुआ, एनपीएस बढ़ गए इसी वजह से, क्योंकि लोगों के लाइसेंस कैंसिल हो गए, वो पैसा जो उन्होंने उधार लिया था बैंक के साथ लोन पे लिया था वो वापस नहीं कर पाए, तो आर्थिक स्थिति में मंदी आई और इस वजह से विनोद राय की वजह से और बीजेपी की वजह से
चेंज द वे इन व्हिच नेचुरल एलोकेटेड
किया जाना चाहिए, क्योंकि जिस तरह से पार्टी बने थे।
हाँ बिल्कुल। नहीं खैर, मैं देखिए ऐसा है कि मैं ऐसी कोई अच्छी बात नहीं करूंगा कि किसी पे केस होना चाहिए, लेकिन जो बड़े बड़े लोग बड़े बड़े पदों पे बैठे हुए हैं, जब वो फैसला लेते हैं ना तो थोड़ा सोच विचार के साथ लेना चाहिए।
You were listening to Kapil Sibal of the Congress Party welcoming the verdict and describing it as a vindication of the Congress Party and Prime Minister Manmohan Singh alike. Now, if I can bring Mr. Dakshinamurthy back into the discussion. Mr. Murthy, before Kapil Sibal, we heard from Manish Tiwari, also of the Congress Party, and he had to say the following. All right, we're told D. Raja is speaking. Let's listen in. All right, that was A. Raja, former minister who was accused in the scam allocations case, talking to reporters outside the courts. All right, if I can go back across one more time, Mr. Dakshinamurthy was joining us via Skype this morning. Mr. Murthy, before Kapil Sibal was speaking to Manish Tiwari of the Congress Party, and he says the then Comptroller and Auditor General, the CNAG, Vinod Rai, must apologize to the nation for sensationalizing the figures, the quantum of the scam per se, and that he could be prosecuted as well. Your thoughts?
Well, I think it's a little premature to expect him to apologize, because this is the CBI court. The government, the prosecution is going to appeal against this. Let's wait for the final thing, and eventually it may probably, it looks like it'll go to the Supreme Court. Either way. So I think it's a little premature to ask for his apology, because but then at the same time, it really puts Mr. Rai's case on the defensive. And then he probably needs to explain, what made him tout that figure. But he's already done that in many different ways, and then we know what the calculations are, and as and media and the people and political parties have all gone through this entire accusation threadbare. So all that has been done. So the issue is that it has not been proven in court. So, but then I think this is only the first step, and I think the fact that all the 17 have been acquitted is something that is really should make everybody sit up and take notice. But then, coming back to your original question about Vinod Rai, I think it's a little premature. I think let's wait and see how this thing goes, and there'll be an appeal. So there's still time for him to apologize or feel vindicated. Let's just wait and see.
All right, Mr. Murthy, do stay on. I want to go back across to my colleague Karthikey from the WION newsroom. Karthikey, What more updates do we have at this point in time?
You see, the Kanimozhi has spoken. Kanimozhi has spoken that I thank all people who stood by me, including my family, my husband, my party, and everybody. Then DMK leaders have tweeted. MK Stalin has tweeted in support of Kanimozhi and Raja. And this is very important, Ramesh, because MK Stalin, at that point of time, if you remember, had created sort of a strategic distance with Kanimozhi and Raja. And Raja was a pariah in the DMK family. You know, he had to fight his case alone. So what it does is, it does two things, Ramesh. It re-energizes DMK Congress alliance in Tamil Nadu, which was completely swept by Jayalalitha. So in absence of Jayalalitha, TK Salangovan fighting, they become relevant.
Right, Karthikeya, do stay on. We are now joined by lawyer Sanjay Hegde from New Delhi. Good morning, Mr. Hegde. Your initial reaction to the CBI special judge's verdict in the 2G scam, all accused stand acquitted. Your thoughts?
It only proves the old legal axiom. Suspicion, no matter how strong, is not proof. You have to prove your case in a court of law through documents. And everybody who is accused is entitled to the presumption of innocence. Now, here was a trial which was monitored by the Supreme Court, which had two special public prosecutors, very eminent men, one of whom is now a Supreme Court judge himself, appointed to prosecute. And despite all that, after 6 years of a long trial and checking through all the records, the trial judge has come to the conclusion that there is no proof beyond reasonable doubt. There is no material to convict. I have no doubt that there will be appeals, but appeals will only be on points of law and if the trial court judgment is perverse in any fashion. The acquittal has doubly strengthened the presumption of innocence as far as the accused are concerned.
Right.
And a major chapter is now over.
All right, Mr. Hegde, your point is well taken. Mr. Hegde says suspicion is not proof enough. But at the same time, Mr. Hegde, would you say that given the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi of the BJP rode to victory in 2014 on the back of a series of scams in the UPA tenure, looking back with the benefit of hindsight, would you say this has come as a setback or disappointment for the ruling BJP and a shot in the arm for the opposition Congress party?
Just one. Yes. The point is that the basis of the anti-corruption crusade is now judicially gone. What political impact it has is a different thing altogether. I do expect that there will be political repercussions. The Congress will say, as Mr. Sibal had earlier said, that there was zero loss. And now there is a court verdict to prove it. The political ramifications I am not qualified to comment.
All right. Legal implications, political implications coming in thick and fast for the ruling BJP and the opposition Congress party. That I want to thank Mr. Hegde for joining us on the phone line from New Delhi. I'm told Jessica Taneja is standing by live from outside the Patiala House Courts in New Delhi. Jessica, if you can listen to me. We've heard from the DMK leaders, Kanimozhi and A. Raja. We also heard from the Congress party leaders and also some BJP leaders. What's the sense you are picking up from where you are? What's the mood like where you are at the moment?
Mood here is celebratory, Ramesh, because this is not something that in fact people had anticipated, but now they're very happy. All the accused have been acquitted here, and one can just try and understand the mood. There are rallies happening right here where I am at the Patiala House Court, perhaps of victory, and the fact that people are very happy about the verdict, the way it has come out. But let's remember, Ramesh, this will definitely be challenged in the High Court. This will definitely go to the Supreme Court. So one will have to wait and see on how it's how further it.
All right, we are told we've lost that link with Jessica, but we are joined now by Raghavendra Rao on the phone line from New Delhi. Raghavendra, take us through what you've been picking up in the last few minutes or so since the verdict came out. How are the political parties and leaders reacting to this rather surprising?
A lot of that is notional loss, as you know. And the main thing is that the public... But if they've been acquitted, then clearly justice has worked as it's supposed to work in our country.
All right, that was Shashi Tharoor of the Congress Party talking to reporters outside Parliament House. And if I can go back across to my colleague Raghavendra, who is joining us on the phone line from New Delhi. Raghavendra, we heard a cross-section of political reactions coming in thick and fast in the last few minutes. What are you picking up now as we speak?
Well, Ramesh, the scene outside the Patiala House courtroom is of utter chaos. Out of almost nowhere, we have witnessed DMK partymen and cadres, swoop down on this area. Now, suddenly there is a huge presence of DMK workers here. They're carrying their party flags and they are carrying placards saying the truth alone triumphs, and in Hindi stating Satyamev Jayate. And the moment this news was broken, one of the lawyers representing the accused, he rushed out of the court premises. He came outside the Patiala House court gate, and he was the one who came and broke the story before the cameras and the media crews here. And the moment that happened, we saw a large number of DMK partymen and cadres swooping down on this area. They started raising slogans. They started raising slogans for A. Raja and their other leaders. And as of now, even as we speak, this entire road outside the Patiala House Court gate, it's chock-a-block with DMK partymen. All you can see are flags, party flags, the black and red party flag of the DMK party.
All right, Raghavendra, stay on. We're now joined by Sandeep Dikshit of the Congress Party. Good morning, Mr. Dikshit. Would you say the Congress stands vindicated now that the verdict is out, finally?
Quite largely. So actually, if you remember, there was a statement that Mr. Sibal had once made, which had become very controversial, when he had said that this is actually a notional loss. So in many instances, I think that's also come out to be in a way proven correct. And I think, although I won't say it's something to comment right now, I think one should also see the full judgment. But it does give some sense of satisfaction that at least what Mr. Vinod Rai and others were trying to point out, that there were cases of massive irregulation, at least that has been put to rest finally.
And would you say how it's going to play itself out politically in the next few days and weeks, especially given the Parliament is in session?
Well, I think a couple of things is very clear that, if you know, over the last 8-9 years, maybe 7-8 years, ever since the 2G report came, both the Congress and others, we were at the receiving end of a huge amount of propaganda, both by public and by our opponents. I think that sense, I think it's time for the Congress to now sit back, see, how we talk to the people and get back to them and convince that this whole game that was being played with regard to blaming us for various things, I think first we need to reclaim that space and perhaps then carry on from there. Hello? Hello?
All right, I'm told we are joined by PC Chako of the Congress Party. Mr. Chako, good morning to you. Would you say that this verdict has come with a shot in the arm for the opposition Congress Party, especially at a time when the Congress was with its backs to the wall?
I'm sorry, I'm traveling, your voice is not audible. I'm not able to make out what you're asking me.
Mr. Chako, we were wanting to seek your reaction to the verdict which came out in the 2G case, where all the accused now stand acquitted.
Yes. In fact, these are three cases, started by CBI and then person arrested. In fact, the whole issue of the 2G scam was on the basis of the report from the CNDG. CNDG has calculated presumptive loss. So the JPC has come to the conclusion that CNDG has no authority to calculate presumptive loss. The sale policy, the policy of the sale of spectrum at the time of UPA government and the previous governments all were first come, first served basis. We sold the spectrum on the HTFS basis and it was not sold in auction. Had it been sold in auction, such amount would have been accrued by the government. This is the presumptive calculation of the CNDG. CNDG cannot, he can only actuals he can calculate. So this was a politically motivated allegation raised against the UPA government by the opposition and by some media. The thing is that, there is no actual loss. CBI now charge sheet, CBI has said that there is 37,000 crores of turnover. And CNDG said 1,93,000 crores. So that means, figures are varying like anything. Even this 37,000 crores, as per the charge sheet of the CBI, they could not go with. So the case was totally, all they were acquitted because the presumptive loss calculated, absolutely there is no basis, and also there is no evidence. And the prosecution could not establish the case. That is why. So the opposition has to owe an explanation because they made a political allegation against the government, then Prime Minister, then Finance Minister, and all these things. So it was a politically motivated allegation. Then there are 2G. It was not realistic. Loss was also present.
Mr. Chako, how is this going to play itself out inside Parliament, given the fact that Parliament business already blocked on account of Congress's demand that Prime Minister Modi apologize to his predecessor Manmohan Singh? So how will the 2G verdict now play itself out inside Parliament in the days ahead?
I don't know, because the parliamentary party will take an appropriate decision when the parliament starts functioning, because Mr. Prime Minister has made a very, very serious and baseless allegation against the former Prime Minister. For that, we want the Prime Minister to come before the Parliament and make an explanation. And until it happens, I don't think Rajya Sabha will function. So the question is that there is a report of the JPC by a majority decision, which is binding on the Parliament. And there are 5 people who are ministers in the present government who were members of my committee. So if they have, they feel that the committee report was partial, they can discuss the report that is on the table of the House. They can discuss that. They can reject the report. They can put frustrations against anyone whom they want. Last 3.5 years, they did not do a thing. They are still, that report, the majority report of the JPC is before the Parliament. They are not ready to discuss. That all shows that it was more political than factual. So how it is going to reflect in Parliament, I can't say, because Rajya Sabha is not functioning, and what will happen in the other house, I can't say. I'm not in Delhi now.
All right, Mr. Chako, thank you so much for joining us on WION this morning. That was PC Chako of the Congress Party sharing his thoughts on the 2G verdict. All right, if I can bring back my colleague Karthike back into the discussion. Karthike, would you have any updates for us now?
Oh, absolutely. The impact is that the Rajya Sabha has already been adjourned over the issue of Dr. Manmohan Singh. So Dr. Manmohan Singh is making waves both outside and inside Parliament. We are also being told that there is a possibility that Manmohan Singh might address the press. It's not confirmed yet, but he might address the press. But the larger issue here is that it is more than the Congress party, more than the DMK, it's shot in an arm for Dr. Manmohan Singh, whose persona was that of a Teflon, or the people would say that, he's the most honest person in the UPA who ran the government. Now, since he was beleaguered by the corruption charges, and for the judgment to come, you will find much more aggressive Manmohan Singh. And you saw him in his second avatar during the Gujarat election, where he had given speeches and did press conferences against the ruling dispensation. So you are going to find a far more active Manmohan Singh. So it's like I would say in a small measure, it is a political rebirth, because Manmohan Singh, because of the coal scam cases or the 2G cases, had become a liability. But nonetheless, Sonia Gandhi had rallied around Manmohan Singh, and for Manmohan Singh, it means his active role, at least in organization, will increase. This decision will have tremendous repercussions within the Congress and outside. It means that there will be greater galvanization of regional parties with Congress when it comes to Bharatiya Janata Party. But it's not that the problems will end. You have a case of Lalu Prasad Yadav on 23rd also. So a number of legal cases. But with this one gone, Manmohan Singh can breathe easy till the matter is settled at the level of the High Court, because we have been given to believe that the government will immediately approach the higher courts.